Most people think manifesting your dream life is about positive thinking or visualizing success. But the reality is that your life is mostly controlled by your subconscious mind. And that mind is shaped by the habits you repeat every single day. If your habits stay the same, your thinking stays the same. And if your thinking stays the same, your life usually stays the same too. Over time, I started realizing how much our subconscious mind actually influences the way we think, the decisions we make, and ultimately the direction our life moves in. And once I understood that, I began paying a lot more attention to the habits I repeat every single day. Because those habits slowly shape the way your mind operates. So in this video, I want to share with you 5 habits that can help you reprogram your mind and move closer to the life you actually want to build. The first habit is becoming very intentional about the information you consume every single day. Most people underestimate how strongly their environment shapes the way they think. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, distractions, or people who have small expectations for their life, your brain quietly adapts to that atmosphere. Over time, those ideas start to feel normal, even if they are limiting. At some point, I realized that if I wanted to build something bigger with my life, I had to change the mental environment I was exposing myself to. That meant replacing random scrolling with content that actually expands my thinking. Whether that's books, podcasts, or listening to people who already operate at the level I want to reach. When your mind consistently hears new perspectives about discipline, growth, and possibility, it slowly starts accepting those ideas as part of your reality. And that shift is where the subconscious reprogramming begins. Another habit that plays a huge role in manifestation is the way you speak to yourself internally. Most people don't realize how often they reinforce their current identity through the language they use in their own mind. When someone constantly thinks things like, I'm not disciplined, or I'm just not the type of person who succeeds, those thoughts slowly become instructions for the subconscious mind. Your brain is always listening to the narrative you repeat the most. When I started paying attention to this, I realized that many people wait until they have results before they start seeing themselves differently. But the subconscious mind works the other way around. It responds to repetition first, and results usually follow later. Changing your internal language doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It simply means speaking to yourself in a way that supports the direction you want to move in, rather than reinforcing the version of you that you are trying to outgrow. Visualization is one of the most talked ideas in manifestation, but it's often misunderstood. People sometimes think of visualization as briefly imagining success and then returning to their normal life immediately afterward. The way it actually becomes powerful is through consistency. Your brain has difficulty distinguishing between a vividly imagined experience and a real one, especially when that image is repeated often. When you regularly picture the life you're building, the environment you want to live in, the way you want to operate as a person, your subconscious mind begins adjusting your expectations and behavior around that image. Instead of feeling distant or unrealistic, that future gradually starts to feel familiar. And once something feels familiar, your mind becomes far more willing to pursue it. One of the biggest mistakes people make with manifestation is separating mindset from action. They focus on thinking differently, but their daily behavior stays exactly the same. The subconscious mind doesn't only respond to thoughts, it also responds very strongly to patterns of behavior. When you repeatedly act in a way that aligns with the person you want to become, even in small ways, your brain begins adapting the identity it associates with you. For example, someone who wants to become disciplined cannot wait until discipline feels natural before they start acting that way. The identity grows through the repeated experience of showing up even on days when motivation isn't present. Over time, the mind begins recognizing that behavior as part of who you are. And that shift changes the way you approach challenges, responsibilities, and opportunities. The final habit is something that people often overlook, but it can make a huge difference. When you begin working towards a bigger version for your life, not everyone around you will immediately understand it. Some people project their own fears, doubts, or limitations onto your goals, often without realizing they are doing it. If you constantly expose your mind to voices that question your direction, it becomes much harder to maintain the belief and focus required to move forward. This doesn't mean you need to completely isolate yourself, but it does mean protecting the mental space where your vision exists. Surrounding yourself with people who support growth, ambition, and self-development creates an environment where your goals feel possible rather than unrealistic. That kind of environment reinforces the identity that you are building. Manifesting your dream life is rarely about one dramatic breakthrough moment. It's usually the result of consistent habits that slowly reshape the way your mind interprets reality. When you control what you feed your mind, become aware of your internal dialogue, repeatedly visualize your future, align your behavior with the person you want to become, and protect your vision from unnecessary negativity, you begin changing the patterns that guide your subconscious mind. And once those patterns change, the decisions you make, the opportunities you recognize, and the way you approach your life begin shifting as well. Over time, the life that once felt distant starts looking a lot more achievable. Most people watch videos like this and then go back to their normal habits. The real shift happens when you actually apply the principles. So if this video resonated with you and you're serious about building your dream life and your dream business and you want guidance on how to actually reprogram your subconscious mind and apply these principles in your life, then you can apply for my one-on-one coaching through the link in the description below. I only work with a small number of people at a time, so the application there is to see if it's the right fit for both of us. See you on the inside.